We know it was a bit controversial. Ortiz going down twice. I believe it was the second and the eighth. The first and the eighth, I'm sorry. We'll double check that right now. But give me your thoughts on this fight. We knew it was going to be fireworks. We knew both men had power. We knew somebody was going to get hurt. We both predicted a knockout in favor of Ortiz. He didn't get it. Big ups to Bohachuk. He was hurt several times in this fight, but he stayed on his feet. Give me your thoughts on this fight. This war.
This war.
This war.
Now, first of all, I was surprised that Vergil Ortiz lost his knockout. Ratio. He's had 100% knockouts intact. Of course, I knew it was going to be a tough fight, but props to Bohachuk for being the first man to go the distance and to make it extremely competitive. There's a lot of people that had him winning. You mentioned the two knockdowns, Gio. Once you get those two knockdowns, all you really need is to win 2 rounds to get a draw, theoretically. So I feel like he fought a great fight. Those knockdowns hurt, truly helped him. Vergil obviously was winning a majority of those rounds, and obviously he brought the fight to him. We know that Vergil is never in a boring fight. He's even said it like I dislike boring fights. I'm not a fan of them. I don't want that to be for me to be tied to anything that's called boring. Like I want to bring excitement to the sport. So having said that, Gio, hell of a fight of the year in my opinion. Toughest fight of Vergil Ortiz's career, and this one's the one that kind of made me feel like he's a little human. He's got some chinks in the armor, which fought an excellent fight. If you had to ask me who I think won,
Yes.
I would say it's tough because you go down 2 rounds. It's if I take the heart out of it, I would say it could have been a draw or it could have slightly gone each way. But man, it's tough. It's tough. I would have to say a draw, Gio. Again, I
Okay.
cannot give the victory full out to a guy that got knocked down twice. But again, it could have gone either way, each side 1 round apiece. But yeah, definitely, Bohachuk should have given more love on the scorecards.
Look, I didn't get to watch the fight live, so obviously we saw the messages, the posts on the internet. Of first of all, of Ortiz going down, he went down right away,
Mhm.
and then people were saying, "Oh man, Bochuk was robbed. No way, Ortiz should have won." Once I watched the fight, I was kind of scratching my head, man, because I saw Bochuk hurt in this fight maybe 4 or 5 times. I'm not sure I saw Ortiz hurt at all in this fight. Even with the knockdowns, and we'll get into that. But yeah, it seemed like to me Ortiz was hurting Bohachuk constantly. Obviously, the two knockdowns are huge, but I gotta say, I didn't see Vergil Ortiz losing this fight, Chris. I think a lot of people focus on the things that Ortiz didn't do, but I feel like if they focus on the things that Bohachuk didn't do, I think they will see a different fight. Now, obviously, Bochuk was the underdog in the eyes of most, and anytime the underdog overachieves, people want to score rounds for the underdog. That's not how boxing works. I just thought Bochuk was. I mean, we know he's not the best defensive fighter out there. He's been knocked out before. In this fight, he refused to move his head. Um, Verge Ortiz did great body work. Verge Ortiz landed the best punches in the fight, even with the knockdowns against him. I just didn't see him lose the fight. Maybe I got to watch it again, but I don't know. I don't see how he lost it. A draw may be fair, but
Yeah.
um, Big Bro saw him winning most of the rounds. He says Virgil clearly won 8 rounds, 10 if you include the ones where he was knocked down. Yeah, that round 8, he came back and almost knocked Bochuk out in the same round. So he didn't even lose that round. So I'm not sure where all the outrage is coming from. Maybe it was the knockdowns. Maybe it was they were expecting a knockout. Maybe people didn't know Bochuk.
Yeah.
But as I said, I stand by it. I did not see Verge Ortiz losing this fight.
Yeah, no, you mentioned it, Gio. When the underdog overachieves, when the favorite in a sense, underachieves, people are gonna have like those kinds of sentiments. I went straight to Twitter and to see just what the sentiments were for most fans. And again, there's a lot of people just like us that expected Vergil to knock out his opponent. But again, the name of the game is just win more rounds and try to outpoint your opponent. That's really how you get the W. So again, there was a lot of people on social media, on Twitter, that just felt like, oh, Bohachuk fought a good fight, or oh, Vergil Cheese didn't win that fight. I feel like he slightly could have gotten the nod. Again, when you look back at those numbers, he did outland Bohachuk, and you can see the aggression in him. Bohachuk just had some good moments where where those knockdowns are eye catching, and most of those rounds the judges will score 10-8, even if Vergil comes back, which we've seen Vergil do what Tyson Fury does, and he just tries to win that round where they get knocked down. So again, I can see the fight, favoring Ortiz based on activity. But again, I just think Bohachuk should have got more love from the judges. But again, it's a competitive fight of the year. I feel like they should run it back. This is one of those fights where I'm not used to seeing Vergil try to stay on the outside and land the jab early on. That's where he respects the power of his opponent, and normally Vergil just rolls right through everybody and knocks them out. So again, it's props to Bohachuk. He fought a great fight, bigger guy. I think Vergil's starting to see that 154 is his division now, but he cannot just roll over guys the way he used to.
I'm going to disagree with that statement, Chris. Bohachuk was 24-1, 23 knockouts. Obviously, a very tough opponent. He had only lost to Brandon Adams. And why I'm giving Vergil Ortiz a ton of credit for this fight. When I watched it, I couldn't believe people were so upset and outraged at this. Vergil Ortiz basically fought 2 rounds in 2024, right? He got a 1-round stoppage, first round stoppage against Frederick Lawson, and a first round stoppage versus Tomas Delorme. He did not fight in 2023. And then he fought in August of 2022. So in 2 years, he fought 2 rounds. He hasn't been active. He's had some health issues. So watching him go 12 with Bohachuk to me was impressive. With the way that both of them fought, the pace, both guys throwing heavy power punches. With Ortiz going down a couple times, you saw his face at the end. He was clearly bruised. Bohachuk is a strong guy. So to me, I don't share that same sentiment. To me, I think Vergil Ortiz graduated in this fight. He had that perfect KO streak before this fight. But he hadn't fought the toughest opponents. I think Bohachuk is as tough as they come. And to me, this was Vergil Ortiz's graduation. He proved he can take a big punch. He proved he can go 12 with a tough, strong opponent. He proved that he can box and go toe-to-toe. Coach Manny Robles, coach for Bohachuk, who also coached Vergil Ortiz for, was it a couple fights, I think? 1 or 2 fights. He said he was kind of thrown off by the fact that Ortiz was boxing. So that, I'm sure, caused a little bit of frustration and confusion. They wanted him to fight. He didn't always give him that toe-to-toe action and was scoring in a lot of those rounds. And as I said, I don't think he lost. We'll go into that pool, but I disagree with your statement. I think this was a very good performance by Vergil Ortiz, considering everything, the inactivity, the health issues, the opponent. I thought this was a very good fight by Ortiz.
Gio, would you rather see a rematch of this fight again? I think most fans wouldn't say no to a rematch. Again, it was action filled. It was fight of the year type of fight. Would you rather see a rematch, or would you rather see him square up against Terrence Crawford next?
I would rather him fight a guy like Crawford. I think anytime you fight guys like Bohachuk, man, those fights take a lot out of you. As I said, you saw his face at the end. I'm sure he was exhausted. I'm not sure he wants to do that again. Bohachuk, he comes forward all 12. He doesn't let you breathe. So for Vergil, win or lose, I think it's a better fight against Crawford. He's gonna get more money. He's not gonna take as much punishment, and why not do it now? I can't say I'm against marinating fights. I like it, because the guys get paid more money eventually, But I think if Turkey's out there throwing big bags, you take it. You don't risk it.
Yeah, I completely agree. Even though it was a great fight, um, I feel like right now is the time to make that Crawford fight. Obviously, we know that Crawford's up there in age. Um, those rumors of him fighting Canelo are put to bed. I said in the previous podcast, if Crawford can't, convincingly beat a guy like Madrimov, he has no business going up 3 divisions to try to face Canelo. So I think it makes sense for him to fight a guy like Vergil Ortiz. I think Vergil, like you said, has gotten the experience from this fight, even though it wasn't the prettiest of fights or the most dominant the way we're used to seeing Vergil. I think he's amassed enough experience to challenge a guy like Terence Crawford. I feel like that fight is more 50-50 now than, say, 2 years ago. So, yeah, man, again, that's the fight that needs to be made. And if it does, take my money now.
Going back to the scorecards here, 113, 113, Max DeLuca, 114, 112, David Sutherland, and Steve Weisfeld, 114, 112. So 2 judges, 114, 112 in favor of Vergil Ortiz, and 1 judge had it a draw.
I was gonna say, okay, those I didn't really look at the scorecards, Gio. Those are pretty fair. I felt that it was probably more slanted towards Vergil. I didn't stay to see the actual scorecards. Those are pretty fair, man. Those are pretty close. Um, yeah, again, I can see that fight being scored that way for either guy. So yeah, I know on social media, I felt like it was more slanted towards
Yeah.
towards Vergil, but I think those are pretty good scorecards.
Yeah, when people say robbery, obviously we've seen crazy scorecards in the past. Adelaide Bird, on that Canelo Triple G1, Alejandro Rochin, and the Fury Wilder one. Those scorecards are outrageous. I didn't see anything crazy in this one. So as I said, considering everything once I watched the fight, I didn't really understand why there was so much outrage, on the internet and the comments. But maybe people thought Bohachuk deserved more. I I think the scorecards were very close. It was a close fight. I can't say it was a robbery, but let's go to some quick comments here real quick before we continue. Big Bro says Vergil outlanded him, was more accurate, and had better defense. The first knockdown was a legit. The second wasn't. He got hit, then threw a punch and slipped. So give me your thoughts on the knockdowns, Chris. When I saw them, you know, again, reading the comments, I thought Vergil got put on his ass. I thought he put him down and Vergil was hurt, wobbly leg. But I saw them and they're both kind of flash knockdowns. The first one, initially, they didn't call it. It did kind of look like he tripped or something. Vergil right away said no. I think he probably just felt like he lost his balance, just like the second knockdown where I did see what Big Bro saw. He threw a punch and his right leg kind of slipped, but Bohachuk did land. So I guess technically that is a knockdown. Technically both are probably knockdowns, but he wasn't hurt. It looked like flash knockdowns. And as I said, and the second one, he came back and hurt Bohachuk and almost stopped him. But yeah, I thought these were going to be crazy knockdowns, and Vergil looked terrible. But I didn't see that. I don't know. Tell me what you kind of thought of those two knockdowns.
Well, first, let me start. There's too many ads like on the freaking map, bro. There's too many ads. We've seen, fighters slip, and there's always some confusion with the refs saying it's a slip when a punch lands and they still go down. So I think there's a combination of a little bit of everything, Gio. So I know that ads pay the bills. The sponsors, they want their name out there because they pay for these fighters as training, their gear, all that. I get that, but man, dude, that's something I've had an issue for like a little while now. There's too many slippery ads on that
It's
map.
not safe. It's not safe for the fighters.
Yeah, just like we thought. I thought it was a slip in the beginning, but I did see the punch when the scores went up. We saw that he was marked for a knockdown because it was a punch did land. So I agree with you. didn't seem like Vergil was hurt on those both. It was just, a punch that landed cleanly on him. He went down, but he got right back up and he tried to win the round. So, in my opinion, two knockdowns, but flash knockdowns.
Vergil did enough to get the victory, in my opinion, says the boxing kangaroo. Even with the knockdowns, he came back strong. Vergil never got hurt. Big Bro says Bohachuk showed he has a great chin and heart. Was hurt after dropping Vergil the second time and again in the 11th. A champion wins the championship round, says Boxing Kangaroo. Period.
Period.